Here's Paul. Dallas has a foul to give. Booker on a three. He got it! Devin Booker gives Phoenix a 1-point lead with
5 from long range. Durant's got 11. Craig goes down. Durant has got a highlight.
Remaining. Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow!
Bryant for the win. Bang! Kobe Bryant has hit a shot at the buzzer.
Oh my indeed. It's really oh my indeed this week, or actually this past couple weeks, because if you have your Twitter notifications on, you have been constantly buzzing from news from Woes, Shams, and everything, because there's a lot going on. So welcome back to the Sports Bits podcast with Moko and with Reed today, just two of us. But there's mainly going to be one segment today, just to talk about all the news.
We're down a man because he's in health and safety protocols.
He's down. We're down a man because he's in health and safety protocols, along with the rest of the league. So you can kind of tell what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about a lot of the outbreaks and I guess health concerns with a lot of these players when it comes to the whole league, because it's almost up to 60 plus players now. Mm-hmm. We cannot mention the disease now because of YouTube going to kill us if we say the word. So I'm going to say outbreak and disease this episode. You already know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
So
y'all know what's going on.
Y'all know what's going on. So with this whole outbreak going on in the league, it's going to be hard for a lot of teams to compete, especially if they lose all their star players. Like, for example, Anthony Edwards is out, Trae Young is out, John Morant is out. Who is it? Is James Harden out? I don't remember.
I think James Harden has a regular injury right now, but Kevin Durant is out.
Kevin Durant is out. You can probably list. There's so many players you could list, like even small players.
Just about every team has like one of their big stars out right now.
Yep. I'll just say like the Celtics have like, imagine their fourth string player Jabari Parker also has the disease. So it says a lot. Like, our depth is getting ruined. Like, we have our starting five, and then everyone else is just like G League players on the Celtics.
Yeah, your whole bench is. Yeah, that's literally what the league is doing. What teams are doing right now. They're just calling all these G League players up, which I kind of like it because I mean it's going to give them a lot of chances to kind of show off their skills a little bit in the NBA. But at the same time, it definitely sucks because like a lot of teams are totally losing their entire bench. Like the Nets have an insane amount of players out. We had I think. We had 11 players out last night against the Magic. And all these guys from the G League team are coming up, and they're putting in great minutes. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be too sustainable for them. I think they're definitely going to, get pushed back down.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're talking about the G League players coming up, the league actually had to implement a hardship exemption for the like all the teams, just because of like certain teams have like 11 players out. Which basically means you're running a 4-man roster, which is not really the best if you think about it. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
You also have 15 on your roster, and then you have like 3 subs on the bench.
It's looking like an IM basketball game right now with like 5 players only running the full 60 minutes. But with this, you see a lot of these teams. Example, we'll talk about it a little bit later. IT actually got signed by the Lakers. So you see all these random players that you haven't seen in a while either get signed, or a lot of these G League names that you hear about from each of your respective teams gets pulled up to the main teams in the NBA just because of roster spots. We need roster spots. We need depth. We can't be overworking the stars that are currently healthy. Like example, the Celtics cannot overwork Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown might re-injure his hamstring. Jason Tatum, he's on an inhaler right now. He's on his last breath, so we kind of don't want to have him.
Keel over on the floor.
Wait, speaking of that, a little side story. Me and Reed were talking about the six man roster or 6-man teams on the court. Remember the power point guard? So we were talking about like a lot of these players are injured, and like we were talking about since like Jason Tatum has like basically an inhaler for our inhaler, or even like oxygen tank on the sideline. We were talking about a 6-man game, like a 6-man team on the court. So we're talking about point guard, shoot guard,
wheel around an oxygen tank for all these
small
players.
Forward, power forward, center, and athletic trainer or medical professional on the court as your 6-man.
They're gonna just be like wheeling around
with Jason Tatum
for sure.
There you go. But yeah, anyway, that's a side story. But we will see how this affects the league. This is actually a really concerning because this also potentially brings up the topic of the league postponing games, which they already have, but also now, they've postponed games, but also now there's talks about potentially like not postponing, but like even I guess, shutting down the league for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get these guys healthy again, like isolate them in quarantine, test them, make sure everything's good before we run back into a smooth NBA season. There might be even more restrictions now for like players to do stuff off the court, yada yada, because you don't want to have anything get picked up by a certain stars that you have on your team to play and then spread a whole over. I was almost said it. Spread the disease to all. Stop. The disease to all these other players you're playing against. I think that's probably how it started. I forgot what team had like the most.
I think the Bulls were one of the first teams to have collapse. 9 guys go out.
Yeah, and then I think
everyone else just started following.
Yeah, everyone else started following because I think everyone who played the Bulls might have had to gotten it for like transmitted by them or whatever. They probably got it from the Bulls, and they moved to spread around the league, and now like the whole league, it's in shambles. So I mean, like with that. Yeah, with that, I mean, what are your thoughts on like canceling the league? Because I have my own thoughts, but we'll see what happens. I mean, for right now, it looks like they might cancel the league for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely the health of the players needs to be like top priority. We want to make sure that nobody's getting too sick or spreading it too much or having these like long lasting effects. But then as a fan, like it kind of sucks, because like
our fantasy teams are all gonna die.
Fantasy is totally gonna be shit out of luck. And like we kind of thought we were out of the woods with this, we were like, okay, fans are back, like players are playing in these almost packed stadiums, we were like kind of getting away from it now. I hope I do not want to speak this into existence, but I do not want another bubble run.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the bubble, but it's just like it's not the best environment, I would say, for the players or for fans.
Yeah,
so,
I think the problem with the first bubble was that not a lot of players wanted to come back to play. I think that if they did it again, and more players were more inclined to want to travel out and stay there, and play, that would be a different story. But I mean, it sucks because like that's totally going to ruin the whole fan experience. And you're right, like the players aren't going to have the fans screaming in their faces, which is like part of the game. So definitely an interesting scenario right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I personally would want them to at least like shut down the league for 2 weeks or something, just to like as precautionary. I would say just to get it done with it now, before anything else happens, and then I think we can have a smooth sailing season.
We want to be like ready for playoffs, because we don't like if this was happening during the playoffs, then this would be a total like
this would shut down the NBA playoffs, and I don't think we would even finish it because we would have to postpone it till forever to get this going. So I think they should get it. What?
What were you saying?
I was gonna say they should nip it in the butt early and just get it done and get this all cleared up.
Yeah, I was gonna agree with you. Just say that if they want to do it, just do it now and get it over with. I mean, it's gonna suck though because like then they also might have to cancel. They're talking about postponing the Christmas games.
Oh yeah, the Celtics playing the Bucks would be. I don't know.
That would really suck because that would ruin my Christmas at least. I don't know what else I would do on Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to watch basketball.
Yeah, I want to watch basketball too. But you did bring up a good point about the players' health because as a Celtics fan, we personally have experienced this with Jason Tatum because now after he got COVID the first time, he is like. And again, he has an oxygen tank next to him at the whole like before and after the game. So
you said it right.
I said well, oxygen. Oh god. No. Okay, well we're flagged by YouTube, but I'm gonna see. I know we said we're gonna try to reduce it.
It's not like we're spreading like misinformation. We're just talking about the impact.
But YouTube gets so whack. Like I'm gonna keep this in, but like. The YouTube's so whack about the COVID, like the almost said it again, the disease talk because a lot of the bigger YouTubers are getting their videos deleted even if you mention it. So I want to like just
it's a good thing we only get like 5 views.
More than that, but you know what? Anyway, getting back to it, players health wise, it would really suck if a lot of these players ended up like Jason Tatum where they needed an oxygen tank like before and after the games. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't be fun to watch because imagine these players getting gassed like way earlier. It wouldn't be as fun to watch because they would be gassed earlier. They would have to bench them more and play less minutes. There's a whole little like slippery slope that happens when you don't prioritize players' health over, I guess, business decisions. I don't know what else you would prioritize. Yeah,
like entertainment purposes. No, I'm with you there. I think that they got to take the players' health into account because we don't like Jason Tatum's now has to use an inhaler now, and he didn't have to use that before. like this could have lasting effects on some of these players for the rest of their careers, which would, totally
suck for us fans. We can't watch our players anymore because I don't want to see Jason Tatum out of the league because I want him to stay with the Celtics, even though everyone has their own opinions about Jason Tatum, but
Yeah, I don't know. Weird situation. I hope they figure it out. Whatever they do, I hope they figure it out.
And get it done quick. I think the thing is getting it done quick.
They have to be like very decisive, make a decision. Because like if they're gonna start doing this whole like postponing games thing, at that point, like they might as well just shut it down real quick and just get it over with, so we can have playoffs and all-star weekend. Jeez, can't speak.
For how many people watch it? I mean, if they do the All-Star game like they did last year, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't think they had fans at the All-Star game.
No, they didn't. So we'll see this year. Maybe they'll have fans this year, and it'll be actually way more fun than it was last year. So, I mean, that's all we really wanted to say. I hope they figure this out. That's all I care about. I hope they figure this out. But let's move on to the IT situation because it's quite interesting. Because again, I'm a Celtics fan. I was an IT fan. I'm sad he got traded because I think the Celtics worked him perfectly into the system. But I mean, you have this whole little timeline, if you want to read that out, about IT, the comeback kid.
He's gone through quite a bit in his career. So I don't remember exactly where he started, but so I know in 2018 he signed as a free agent with the Denver Nuggets, only played 12 games with them. Then he signed with Washington in 2019. He played about half the season with them, 40 games. Then he got traded to the Clippers, and then he got waived by the Clippers only 3 days later. Then he signs a 10-day contract with New Orleans in 2021, plays 3 games. So now he's finally back. Due to the hardship exemption, he's able to come back with the Lakers. This is his second stint with the Lakers now.
Yep.
And in his first game back, he dropped 19 points in 22 minutes. So obviously, he was pretty ball dominant with that. Westbrook is out because of health and safety protocols. But I think it's really interesting because he brings a lot to the table in terms of offense. Obviously, he's a really small guard, so he doesn't really do a whole lot in terms of defense. But you bring him on for his offense. He's a good passer. He's a great scorer. He's a professional bucket getter. So I think he's gonna work well with the Lakers. But the Lakers also have other issues that he might not be able to help with. Talk Anthony Davis. He's actually been playing pretty well these last couple of days, but I'm pretty sure he also just sprained his MCL, so he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal.
The Anthony Davis injury grind.
Yeah,
I mainly wanted to include this because you're a Celtics fan. I wanted to hear your opinion seeing IT kind of make a comeback now.
Well, I'm just going to let you know, he's been in the league since 2011. He's been in the league for a while now, and it's hard to see him play just because, I love to see him play, but it's hard to see him try to be a big part of the NBA since the Celtics had him, just because he's not the type of guy you want nowadays with basically defensive liability. He's amazing ball dominant, shot creator essentially is his kind of archetype. But with the reduced liabilities on defense, and for how much the Lakers really are sucking at defense this year, it really doesn't help. This is kind of a panic signing for the Lakers. I don't see this is not really a signing you would do for fit. This is kind of we need roster spots, so let's get IT.
Yeah, that's exactly why they did it. They just needed people. They needed a point guard to come back because Westbrook is out right now.
The thing was I guess a little history thing, but with the Celtics back in 2015 to 2016, 2017, yada yada, the only reason it works so well, he was able to work so well, is because of course Brad Stevens is an amazing coach. No one will. I won't say otherwise, because even though he had some bad years in the later years, but during those years of 2015 to 2017, having the team built around IT essentially. So you mentioned you had Avery Bradley, amazing 3-and-D guy, probably a better D than 3 guy. Then you had Jay Crowder, another amazing defender that James Wood preaches about all the time on the Suns now because they have Jay Crowder.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Al Horford, great on the switches, great on the pick and roll, and plays amazing on the switches on defense as well. So that team was really built around IT. I forgot their small forward. But point being, they had all these players that essentially were just defense-minded, defense-focused guys or defense-oriented guys then you had IT as like the main ball dominant offensive player during those years.
He averaged almost 30 points a game in 2016, 2017 on the Celtics. So he definitely he's just pure offense. That's really what you bring him in for.
Exactly. And actually, funny enough, I found the roster. So Jonas Jerebko, oh my God, Jonas Jerebko and Amir Johnson were our power forwards. So yeah, I mean, essentially that says a lot. That says a lot about where we were, because Jonas Jerebko was a decent offensive defensive player, and Amir Johnson was a defensive-minded power forward. So they really just built the team around IT, and I don't see any team really doing that for IT ever again, just because they haven't seen enough performance from him that shows like we should invest some money and time into like trading for these players to get a good team around him.
I mean, so it's difficult. It's definitely difficult to build around this guy now, at least because, like you said, the Celtics figured out their system with him. But that was also when he was in his prime. Right now he's 32. He's not getting any younger. He still has his offensive skill set, but I mean, to build an entire team around a 5'9" point guard right now is really not the move.
And to think he's tall, he's shorter than both of us.
Yeah, dude. That's actually insane.
I mean, he weighs.
And dropped almost 31 season in the NBA, and I got like 3-4 inches on him.
Yeah, exactly. I got an inch on him. But point being, I would love to see him like in the NBA again, just as a backup role. But you heard my opinion. Is like the only reason he was so good, because of course he was in his prime. You mentioned that. Second thing, the team was built around him, which is never going to happen again, I don't think. So we'll see what happens. Again, that's why he was in the G League for a couple of years. Yada yada, like going around like these. I don't even know where he was before this. Wasn't he like some sort of like pickup, like some sort of like semi-competitive league?
Directly before this?
What?
Like right before this?
Yeah, right before this. I've seen.
I know he signed with the Nuggets G League roster, dropped 42 points in his first G League game, and then immediately gets picked up by the Lakers.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was the Nuggets G League team. It was one G League team. I don't forget who it was, but essentially, yeah, that's how he was able to get recognized. Probably. I mean, if he didn't drop that 42-point game, I mean, no one would be talking about IT right now. So
probably not.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I'm happy that he finally has a roster spot. Maybe he'll shine, and then maybe he'll pick up a contract after this year if he like really shows off his talents in this like a disease-ridden league. Maybe this will.
Yeah, maybe right now that's what he's coming into.
Yeah, he's coming into it. Maybe hopefully he stays healthy so he can do that. Again, he's an interesting case. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about him. I said about. As a Celtics fan, I said what I said about him because I think that's how most fans agree. He was almost MVP of the league because of essentially his skill set plus Brad Stevens' defensive, scheme plus the players around him. If he was put on any other team, you saw this with the Lakers when with the Cavs when he got traded to the Cavs. Man dropped off hard because the team was not built around him.
Yeah,
so,
he definitely needs that ball dominance. He needs to have the ball in his hands a lot for all those offensive sets.
And he needs a defensive-minded team around him.
Come back a little bit, maybe. Hopefully, I hope he makes an impact. I think that would be really just like kind of interesting if he did. But at the same time, you're right. Like he's not gonna be the Isiah Thomas of old that we saw, when he was back on the Celtics.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm happy I lived through those years. I'm happy I lived through the Scary Terry years. Not so happy about the Kyrie years, but you know what? He's now in the Nets and he can do whatever he wants. Man's not even going to play half the season. He's not even going to play half the season because this man has interesting thoughts about the world, like the world's flat. Anyway, besides the point. Besides the point. I mean, that's really all we had to talk about. And we mainly wanted to talk about the COVID.
You're making your own rules, man.
I'm making my own rules now.
Before the episode started, before he even hit record, he was like, "Don't say it because I don't want to get us like flagged." And I was like, "Okay, fine."
And then I said it twice.
I'm good. You said it 3 times now.
The producer has said it almost 3 times now.
I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue.
I don't think it will be. But I just want to take precautionary things just because I want to have like all our YouTube videos not get flagged or taken down for any reason. So
yeah, that would be a pain to deal with.
Yeah, copyright claims are hard enough to deal with. This is a YouTube rant, but like copyright claims are hard enough to deal with. But getting your video taken down sucks. So yeah, that's a side tangent. We can talk about that on another day if we have like time for it. But I think today we wanted to keep it short, mainly just talk about what's going on in the league and just hope that the league figures it out and figures out a solution to this, so that we can get the league back in full swing after probably I would be happy if the league gets back to full throttle after the All-Star break. Like if they have to take out like half of the All-Star games, half of the All-Star like competitions, I don't care. As long as we get the second half of the league, second half of the year going smoothly. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be nice. I would rather have them skip All-Star weekend.
If it meant for a smooth second half of the year.
Absolutely. So, yeah, no, I'm with you there.
Yeah, that's all we want to talk about. So, we'll see you next week. We actually have an potential interesting segment to talk about. We actually discussed it before this episode, so we'll hopefully y'all will stick around for that next week. But yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Peace.